The devil Max Kellerman and ESPN is lying through its teeth and lying to your face.
Why is it all on LeBron? What's all on LeBron? The Golden State Warriors are better than the Cavs. Nothing the Cavs can do. Golden State Warriors have overwhelming firepower because, as I said, and as LeBron pointed out after Game 1, they added KD to a 73-win team. So why is it all on LeBron? On Miami. Then when they started getting a little long in the tooth, he looked over at Cleveland and said, Kyrie. Yeah. They're playing in the All-Star game together. I kept watching LeBron feed Kyrie. Thinking, LeBron likes playing with this guy. Nothing wrong with that. Jerry West created an unfair advantage team with the Lakers when he traded for Kareem, or when Kareem was on the team, and then they drafted Magic, and they pulled off a heist for James Worthy in the draft. That was an unfair team. Red Auerbach did the same thing in Boston with Bird and McHale and those guys. Unfair team. Same thing.
Lies, 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 lies. Now, let's talk about these unfair teams he's talking about. Now, here goes the Bird, McHale, Dennis Johnson team going against Dr. J, Moses Malone, Andrew Turney, and Maurice Cheeks. There wasn't unfair teams. What it was is they was getting the unfair advantages by the refs. And anybody that knows the NBA knows this to be true. Always been good teams in the NBA. But the difference is, it was a team, like he said, that won 73 games, lost 9 to put it in perspective, and lost the finals by 2 points, and then they go get KD. That has never happened. Chris Bosh wasn't a top 10 player, and truth be told, neither was Dwayne Wade. Now let's look at this team. This is the 87 Sonics. Tom Chambers, Dale Ellis, you got some Alton Lister, you got Xavier McDaniel, you got Nate McMillan. This team was pretty damn good. You got Sam Vincent. So don't let them lie to you. This is all a new thing. Now let's look at this team with Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon. This was the team in the 90s that went back to back. So there's always been teams that are souped up. But the difference is Patrick Ewing didn't go join this Houston Rockets team. That's the difference. Now let's look at some of these players on the team. You got Otis Thorpe, who was a great player. You got Robert Hurd. You got Sam Cassell. You got Clyde Drexler. You got Kenny the Jet Smith. The team was souped. Vernon Maxwell. They built that team to beat the Bulls. They had a bunch of shooting guards they could throw at Michael. Shame we never got to see these two teams go together. Now let's look at these Knicks with Starks, Ron Harper. You got Anthony. Man, I mean, this team is just ridiculous. You got Charles Oakley. I mean, this team was a really good team, and their bench was popping too. So what was going on then was the unfair advantage that the refs would give Boston, the Lakers, and the teams that are most popular, they can make the most money off. Let's look at this other Sonics team with Deadlift Shrift, Gary Payton, Sean Kemp, Nate McMillan. I mean, they had a souped-up team where Sam Perkins ain't even in the picture. Their team was really good. The refs just cheated so that Jordan could win. Let's look at the old school San Antonio Spurs that was going against them Lakers, where Artis Gilmore and George Gervin. But see, they play the game. So none of them is going to come out and tell you what it really is. Man, these refs ain't going to allow us to win this game. This is George Gervin, who at the time was considered the best player in the NBA. See, a lot of what this is about is them Air Jordans that make so much money every year, and that's why they are not going to let nobody pass Michael Jordan. But don't let these guys lie to you. And that's what he's doing. He's being a damn devil. He's being a deceiver. Let's look at the 93 Penny Hardaway, Scott Styles, and Shaquille O'Neal team. Come on, man. There's been good teams that are put together, teams that have superstars. But when you have a team that's battling another team to 7 games, and then the best person of that team goes to that, it's wickedness. Never trust thy enemy, for like iron and rust, so does wickedness. So let's figure out who our enemy is. So as time goes on, that wickedness just goes. And the Lord shall bring thee to Egypt. Egypt just means bondage, again with ships. By the way whereof I spake unto thee, that thou shalt see it no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. So these people are our enemies. The people that was over us are our enemies. So make no mistake about it, especially someone who's claiming to be a Jew and you know he's not. Ecclesiasticus 12:10. Never trust our enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. As time goes on, he'll just become more wicked and more wicked. All praises to the Most High. The NBA is wicked and fake.
He was the NBA's #1 rated referee for more than a decade. But when Jake O'Donnell watches officials nowadays, he sometimes has to turn off his television.
I do not like to see referees acting up the players or coaches. The chumminess of referees and coaches, putting their arm on the coaches and just talking to them. And I don't believe you should ever be doing that. I just don't think it's right for the game.
In 28 seasons, O'Donnell officiated more than 2,000 games, a league record, before retiring in 1995. At that time, the NBA Officials Manual expressly prohibited referees from initiating conversations with players or coaches during the game. The rules no longer prevent refs from initiating such conversations. And O'Donnell says he's stunned by the way today's officials interact with players and coaches.
It looks like you're close, you're buddy-buddies. We're not buddy-buddies. We're the mediators, and you don't want to be putting your arms around one coach and you don't put your arms around the other coach.
What do you think the public's perception is of the integrity of the NBA officials?
0.
Mike Mathis, who led the referees union for a decade, officiated NBA games for 26 years before retiring 7 years ago.
A referee with an arm around a player's waist. That to me, it just turns my stomach. If I was the other coach and I saw somebody down there with their hand around an opposing player, I'd be wondering what's going on and why that's happening.
Mathis was one of 8 NBA officials indicted for filing a false federal income tax return in 1997. After he resigned, he pleaded guilty the following year and was reinstated by the league in 1999.
It's a strange thing, but players and referees and coaches don't need to be around each other, period. I mean, that's a harsh thing to say, but the way the zero tolerance is today, no.
In a court document released by his attorney last month, former NBA official Tim Donaghy described improper interactions and relationships between referees and other league employees, such as players, coaches, or management, and suggested such inappropriate relationships could influence the outcome of games. On the same day, NBA Commissioner David Stern attacked Donaghy's credibility.
He's a singing, cooperating witness who is trying to get as light a sentence as he can. He turned on basically all of his colleagues in an attempt to demonstrate that he was not the only one who engaged in criminal activity.
But some of Donaghy's allegations do resonate with at least one current NBA head coach.
What to you is crossing the line between a referee and a coach or a referee and a player?
Well, no fraternization. I don't think there's any room for off-the-court fraternization.